Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Stop judging, that you may not be judged. For as you judge, so you will be judged. And the measure with which you measure will be measured out to you. Why do you notice the splinter in your brother's eye, but do not perceive the wooden beam in your own? How can you say to your brother, 'Let me remove that splinter from your eye,' while the wooden beam is in your eye? You hypocrite! Remove the wooden beam from your eye first. Then you will see clearly to remove the splinter from your brother's eye." The Gospel of the Lord. Somebody asked me the other day, "Father, why aren't you on Facebook? That cesspool of judgmentalism, bias, opinions, and pre-convictions." Well, I suppose there's some good to it, but my experience of Facebook has been a lot more bad than good, and so it's just a place that I stay away from. And yet, it's so culturally present to us and seems to be the norm. And when you stop and think about it, this judgmentalism it's really you're looking at an issue of pride. My formulated opinions and deductions about someone are the truth. And I have no regard for what might be the hidden situation. I have no regard for a person's conflicts and hurts and the need for healing. I only see my opinion and my prejudice. There's where your judgmentalism is. And there's a difference between making a moral judgment and an assessment about a moral thing. On the other hand, an assessment and a judgment about a person is something entirely different. Only the Lord sees the heart. And this analogy of Jesus is so to the point. I was recalling when I was reading this as a child that I literally had a splinter in my eye. My mother was a nurse, and she took these really sharp tweezers with a very sharp point, and she said, "Now trust me, Mo." Actually, she didn't say Mo because she didn't call me that when she was in anxiety. "Now trust me, Morris." Okay, so now that in a sense was enough to get me going. And she had my eye open, and I saw her putting those tweezers with a very sharp edge, which is what she needed to get that splinter out. And she just grabbed a hold of it and took it out, and I was fine. And so when Jesus talks about that splinter in your brother's eye, there's something to be said there for the care and the tenderness that's involved in such a delicate operation. And when you got a 2x4 in your own eye, it's impossible to have not only that kind of dexterity, but that eye to hand and finger coordination to just get that little thing out of there. And so it is that we, in our biases, in our judgments, in our prejudices, in our opinions and preconceptions, we can miss a lot. And so we have to be very, very careful. And we have to leave the opinions to Jesus to be formed. and not our own. It's interesting because as a confessor, judgmentalism ranks up in frequency among lying and some other things that I don't even want to mention. Okay, but that's like judgmentalism is like in the top 5 of frequently confessed sins. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't it fantastic, however, that although we may slip into that, some people actually have the clarity to confess it and deal with it. And so it should be for us. And you see, Jesus is really like serious about this. It's stop judging that you may not be judged. Ooh, that should get us a little unnerved, and that's okay. And yet, when you see the tenderness with which Jesus deals with people, you could see how he could find this upsetting, because when you stop and think about it, when things like Facebook upset us, it's because deep down inside, we need the tenderness that we're not giving. We really need that. And we're frightened that what we see on things like Facebook might be leveled against us without any understanding of what's happening in my personal life that I'm struggling with, while I'm being judged for something that is totally uncharitable. And so we need to consider. Good place to meditate on this also is in the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, quiaque meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit, alleluia.